People have been taking a crack at solving the problems of the human condition for as long as there have been people. When we wrote the first edition of Supple Leopard, what we realized is what we were trying to do was bring in all these very high concepts of human performance and anatomy, physiology, and coalesce them into a Betty Crocker cookbook about how to take a crack at fixing yourself, about how the layperson could have come to understand their knee pain and what to do about it. The response to Supple Leopard blew us away. The numbers of emails and comments and even people stopping us in the airport to say, hey, I had back pain for 8 years and the tools that you gave me helped me to fix it myself. It's really profound. The real question is, why the heck did we write a second edition of this amazing book? Well, it turns out that in 2011, sort of our hearts and roots were in the performance model. And what we knew is that if we kept this sort of aspirational concept of tweaking and making the best athletes in the world better, then we would get injury prevention sort of in the compromise. That an aspirational model would work better towards getting people into taking care of their tissues and improving their positions. This book has had sort of wildfire success, and it's gone into crazy, different, disparate, amazing communities all over the place. It's really surprised us. And so what we realized is that if we were going to really sort of solve the sets of problems that everyday people were seeing, we need to sort of tell the story in a little bit different model. And what we want to do is take the same concepts and the same principles around sort of high performance and pivot them so they're a little bit more digestible, so that you can immediately apply it to your family, to your friends, to yourself, without sort of having to take a deep dive into the high-level performance. And one of the things that's happened is we've had a chance to sort of see how people have interpreted this over the last 2 years, which has given us a lot of data and a lot of feedback about how people are using the book and places where we could help them use the book and the principles in the book a little bit more efficiently. What we did was we organized the human function, the complex symphony of human movement, into its basic constituent parts, and we call these things archetypes. These are root positions that are usually the start or finish position for our complex movements in the gym, and they also represent sort of the constituent parts for all the other motions we see in sport and life. What's nice about that is that if you have a problem around your shoulder, if you know the start position and the finish position, i.e. you know the start and finish position of the archetype, then this gives you a waypoint to be able to start to solve this. And when you get into the book, you'll notice that the entire structure of the thing is organized around this archetypal concept. So that if you're having a problem with your overhead positioning or swimming, you can flip to that section of the book and you'll notice that all the mobilizations are organized around solving that archetypal dysfunction or that incomplete range of motion. This archetypal concept really streamlines the idea and brings us back to a very simple checklist. One of the things you'll notice when you pick up the new book is that it looks and feels like a new book. We've basically taken the old book, torn it apart, reconfigured it, reorganized chapters, and we added a lot to it. In fact, an additional 80 pages. It's like a whole nother book on top of the book. In there, we've got about 50 new mobilization techniques. We also added a ton of color illustrations to kind of help simplify some of the complex concepts that we're using and to give our readers a basic understanding of the anatomy. And finally, because you asked for it, we finally added an index. This book has gone out and become a very common diagnostic language between patients and physicians, between patients and physical therapists, between coaches and athletes, even between sort of the weekend warrior taking a crack at solving their own knee pain. What we're trying to do with Supple Leopard is show people that they don't ever have to have a compromise between being their best physical selves and their safest, most resilient, injury-proof, pain-free selves. Those things are a mutually accommodating idea.